This broadcast reflects much, but not all, of what it is to be black in many cities in America.
BlueBlood.
Well, Anne-Marie, the focus is this open question of, was this excessive force? What exactly led up to this incident where you can see the officer in question just wail on this unarmed man who just moments before appeared to be having a heated exchange with the officer. Now, the interim police commissioner here suspended that officer immediately. They're still asking the general public here for more information. So there may be some witnesses out there at this moment who know a bit more about what led up to this incident, and the police commissioner is saying that they want to hear from those witnesses to get a sense of the larger picture as to what led up to what appears to be another example of excessive force here in Baltimore.
So other than hoping to hear from members of the public who might have seen something, it's been 2 days since this incident happened. What are we hearing from Baltimore officials?
Yeah. Well, look, when the video emerged over the weekend, the interim police commissioner, as I reported earlier, said he was deeply disturbed by this video. This city has a problem. It is currently under a federal consent decree, which essentially means it's been given a roadmap for reforms in the wake of previous incidents of alleged excessive force. If we think back to 2015, when Freddie Gray died while still in police custody, the consequential trials really gripped this city, and they put a highlight and a magnifying glass on what have always appeared to be issues of excessive force, racial profiling, and even in some instances the planting of evidence on suspects. And so the city knows that it has a problem. It wants to follow this roadmap for reforms, and the mayor, or I should say the lawyer for McGuire, said that he was reached out to by the interim police commissioner, by the mayor, and by the state's attorney on the same day, and he has this sense that they do want to send a message that this type of behavior in the city is not acceptable.
You know, Errol, in the video, it certainly seems like the officer is not holding back at all. Did McGuire suffer any injuries?
His lawyer says absolutely. He is suffering in a lot of pain at the moment at the hospital and has a fractured jaw, multiple fractured ribs. And when his attorney was at his bedside, he said that he was also having difficulty, McGuire, feeling one of his legs, although by the end of that visit, apparently he was regaining some feeling. But it speaks to the impact that the officer in question had as he wails on him against the wall, across the steps, and you see in the end of the video McGuire really sitting in a pool of his own blood. His family absolutely outraged to see that, but the police department here knows it has an issue, and the investigation into the context, the history, the relationship of these two continues.
Yeah, definitely. So as I understand it, there might have been like an earlier encounter. There may be footage of that earlier encounter. What can you tell us about that?
Well, that's what's key here. These two individuals apparently do know each other and had a somewhat of a relationship. The officer has claimed that McGuire assaulted him back in June, and the hearing for that case will be later this month on August 22nd. Now, McGuire's lawyer says that there is video of that incident earlier in June. He hasn't seen it yet, but again, it may add and give some context to why the officer engaged with this man over the weekend. What the lawyer says is that because there is this pending charge of assault from the officer, that he specifically targeted the man in approaching him on the street when asking for his ID. And what's interesting about that is when you take a look at the first few seconds of this video, the two are exchanging words at a very high volume.
BlueBlood.